The verdict is in and Anthony Garcia is guilty. New tonight, we dig into the remaining questions left to decide his final fate.
Areas of dense fog are possible tomorrow morning. I'll let you know what that means for your drive to work.
And in the face of cancer, Brian Master reports on a life-saving surprise for a twin that shocked both doctors and the mom. 10 at 10 starts now.
From your home for news, this is WOWT 6 News 10 at 10.
Anthony Garcia sits in state custody tonight with his fate still looming. Will he face the death penalty?
Today he was found guilty by his peers, but there's still more for them to decide, and our Don Grenice joins us live from the county courthouse with more. Don?
John and Mallory, a hearing set for Friday, basically another mini trial for Garcia. Those same jurors that found him guilty today will decide whether or not to recommend he face an execution.
Do you think he should face the death penalty?
What do I think of the death penalty? Oh yeah, we need a death penalty.
Shirley Sherman's ex-husband, Mike Sherman, offered his opinion Wednesday. He and other family members have been quiet on the issues during the trial.
You think about the images and the last few minutes of their lives, and it can't help but be emotional.
It's what has been on the minds of the jurors and what they'll have to consider during Friday's hearing. If they choose to move forward with the death penalty recommendation, then the final decision likely goes before a 3-judge panel. The prosecution has to prove what are called aggravators that show the magnitude of Garcia's crimes.
I think the aggravators in this case are that there were multiple murders committed at the time of the murder, especially heinous, and that one murder was done to conceal another crime.
The judge in this case has clarified that until the voters decide in the November election whether to retain or repeal, the death penalty is still on the table.
It's a death penalty case, so I'm gonna go at it as hard as I can, which is what I did.
The hearing will start at noon on Friday, and our legal experts tell us that this won't take anywhere near as long as the actual trial. The hearing and the jury's decision should just be a matter of hours. John and Mallory.
All right, thank you, Don Grenice, reporting live. In total, the Garcia trial lasted 4 weeks, including jury selection. There throughout, our own Aaron Murray.
And Aaron, those 9 guilty counts, did that bring the family some peace?
Yes, I would say. Nothing, of course, though, will ever bring back Thomas Hunter, Shirley Sherman, Mary Brumback, and Dr. Roger Brumback. After the verdict today, Shirley Sherman's ex-husband reminding us all how long that wait to hear those guilty counts really was.
9 years. We waited 9 years.
The trial itself, one of the longest ever here in Omaha. The total number of witnesses called to the stand, 61. And the amount of evidence, far beyond those numbers. Now, some of the evidence was extremely hard to see, but the state says the jury handled it very well.
That's a big task. I mean, you're leaving your family, you're leaving your job, and you're sitting in the courtroom, and you're not able to really say much, you're just listening. And that sometimes can be a difficult task, and they did it very well.
The defense, on the other hand, upset with the jury's decision. So we asked if they would have done anything differently.
Nothing I think we can talk about, but I think we go home every night and wish we would have asked another question, or wish we would have pushed one witness a little further. But in terms of what we did the best we could.
And one final note, we also did reach out to some of the witnesses that spoke throughout the trial. One woman telling us off camera she was happy with the outcome for the families, but she herself spent the day at a prayer vigil for Garcia, hoping that he would one day feel some remorse for the crimes. John, Mallory.
Thank you, Aaron Murray. And we also heard from a member of the Brumback family just about 10 minutes ago. They say they are pleased with the verdict and that it's now up to Nebraska voters to keep the death penalty intact. Stay with WWT for continuing coverage of the Garcia case on air and online.
The weather may slow down your morning commute. We join Chief Meteorologist Rusty Lord now to tell us what to expect.
Yes, Mallory, not much to worry about right now. Just some scattered high, thin clouds rolling in. Look a little closer, shows a few of those traipsing over. But as the temperature drops into the mid-40s like it's forecast to do tomorrow morning, we could easily have some fog around. So the bus stop forecast, 46 at 7, 45 by 8, could easily have some patchy, dense fog. We'll talk a little more about it and how long it sticks around coming up a little later.
A gunfire rings out near Midtown Omaha, sending a man to the hospital with potentially life-threatening injuries. And tonight, police are still on the hunt for the gunman.
It's about 5 o'clock this evening. Police called to 30th in Chicago for reports that a person had been shot. Officers arrived on the scene quickly and found a man in his early 20s suffering, and it was from a gunshot wound. He was rushed to the hospital in critical condition.
Sabrina Dumond works in a nearby hotel. She says she heard the gunshots, then saw a man running from the scene.
I was like, were those gunshots? Like, did somebody just fire a gun? And no, it totally sounded like firecrackers or something like that. It was crazy.
Police blocked off the Highway 75 exit at 30th Street. An Omaha's police helicopter helped search for the suspect. At last update, the shooter is still on the run.
And we just checked, and tickets are still available for the vice presidential candidate Mike Pence's campaign stop in Omaha tomorrow morning. Pence is holding a campaign rally at Mid-States Construction Products, 67th and F. Starts at 10:30 with doors opening 2 hours in advance. You can watch the whole event streaming live on WOWT.com.
Today, Donald Trump took a break from the campaign trail to take part in a ribbon cutting at his new hotel just 2 blocks away from the White House. Trump says voters can look at how he transformed an old building to see how he will transform America as president. But Hillary Clinton says Trump's priorities are in the wrong place.
A project like this demonstrates what is possible when a team works together for a totally common purpose. Today is a metaphor for what we can accomplish for this country.
Donald Trump is actually paying more attention to his business than to the campaign. That's his choice, but we're going to keep working really hard to reach as many voters as possible.
On Friday, both candidates will be courting Iowa voters, holding dueling rallies in Cedar Rapids.
In Douglas County, early voting numbers are breaking records. The Election Commission says of 84,000 people have already voted. We still have 13 days until the election. In 2012, 77,000 people total voted early. And with early voting in full swing, the League of Women's Voters has launched an effort to encourage people to get out and vote. The group is writing these chalk messages at high traffic areas across the metro. And this is a look at their work at the Women's Center for Advancement in Omaha. Organizers say the messages are intended to be a gentle and fun reminder to everyone of how important their votes are.
In depth tonight, the story of 2 brothers from the South who came to Omaha for its medical expertise. As Brian Mastery reports, they left with information even their mother never knew.
Happy birthday to you.
It's funny. It's funny because 60-year-old Bruce Johansson's birthday is in May, and this took place this morning. It's October. The cupcake is symbolic, a rebirth of sorts. He came to Nebraska Medicine in Omaha from his home in Arkansas because of its stem cell program.
About 6% have this type of cancer.
These are the HBCA stem cells for Mr. Johansson. We keep them frozen at minus 190 degrees Celsius.
So each one of those has stem cells?
Mm-hmm.
A few months ago,
We're going to see if he changes color after he gets it.
doctors couldn't believe what they heard.
That changed things.
He has a twin brother, Blair. Those stem cells came from him. He's back in Arkansas running their consulting business. He called him.
You want to show him?
Oh, are they
Yeah, here you go.
Oh, yeah?
Looks like the real thing to me. Yeah, yeah, that's you.
You recognize him?
An identical twin is the jackpot for stem cell transplants. It's a DNA copy of you without the cancer.
Our mom always thought we were paternal from the birth.
It turns out Mom was wrong. A DNA test showed they're identical twins. How'd they break the news to her?
We had cupcakes and put 2 jelly beans, blue jelly beans that looked alike.
You're seeing the power of twins.
Trying to see if any twin superpowers start manifesting themselves.
One cell at a time. With photographer Jim Hinchik, I'm Brian Mastery reporting, WOWT 6 News.
And get this, Bruce is left-handed, his twin brother is right-handed. He jokingly asked if the new stem cells will make him switch.
Happening on our streets, the Anthony Garcia murder verdict wasn't the only high-profile court case we were watching today. A man accused of killing 2 people last year received his sentence as well. Michael Nolt. He was found guilty of charges including first-degree murder and manslaughter for the deaths of Malquan King and Aurelius Hassel. The 2 men were killed in what was believed to be a botched robbery in October of last year. and Nolt was arrested a short time later in Arizona. City of Omaha has announced results of a survey after asking citizens for their thoughts on snow removal. Mayor Stothert admits there were some snow removal problems last year and said results of the survey should increase efficiency. After reviewing the survey, Omaha has decided to hire 16 new employees, increase the number of private contractors it uses, and buy 14 new trucks. You can find the full results on the mayor's website.
Begin our city-by-city coverage in Kearney, where a local television station's mistake results in a mistrial in a Kansas murder case. A Kearney TV station was covering the 2015 murder of Joseph Sweet when they mistakenly aired footage of prospective jurors waiting to be questioned. After the footage aired, the judge declared a mistrial. The station says a court official gave their reporter permission to stand in the hallway where jurors were waiting, and they did not intend to show them. In Blair, Nebraska, an interesting request by an animal rights group. PETA says they want to install this memorial as a tribute to 33 pigs killed in a semi-crash last Thursday. The group is asking the Nebraska Department of Transportation permission to put up the tombstone on the roundabout on Highway 30. It includes a message encouraging people to adopt a vegan lifestyle. And we'll wrap things up in South Omaha, where the Henry Doorly Zoo is touting new numbers that show its impact to the local economy. According to the zoo, they had a $226 million impact to the Omaha economy in 2015. That includes $95 million in wages paid to workers, along with millions in local sales and lodging revenue. The zoo says they welcomed nearly 1.7 million visitors through the gates last year.
New tonight, leaders at the Woodman Life Insurance are planning a tribute for a Nebraska family killed in a house fire. When we spoke to the grandmother of the Spear family, she said the little girl's favorite color was pink, and she would like to see the Woodman Tower lit up in their memory. We brought her request to Woodman, and they agreed. The tower will be lit up in pink on October 30th.
Up next, imagine calling 911 and no one responds. That's what happened to a Wahoo resident.
With many rural areas relying on volunteers as emergency responders, Mike McKnight investigates what they're doing to make sure someone is always ready to help. They respond to emergencies night and day for no pay, but one volunteer fire department will hire a full-time paramedic.
That comes after a medical call nobody in town answered. Mike McKnight takes us 25 miles west to Wahoo for this 6 on Your Side investigation.
A call for volunteers heard about 300 times this year.
Wahoo rescue call, Wahoo rescue call.
But half past midnight, October 16th, 911 got no answer.
Wahoo rescue call, second page, they were having difficulty breathing.
Wahoo squad 2 miles from the emergency sat in the dark station.
Wahoo rescue call, third page, female difficulty breathing.
While more than 14 miles away, Cedar Bluffs Rescue responded to the mutual aid call.
Wahoo have any personnel down there at all? I have gotten no response.
The Cedar Bluffs squad arriving at the retirement home an hour and 10 minutes after the first 911 page to Wahoo went unanswered.
That's just a case of a perfect storm where we didn't have enough people around to make that call.
Wahoo's 17 certified medical volunteers don't have assigned duty times. A page alerts all of them, and when enough show, they go. To reduce the chances of a rescue squad call going unanswered, Wahoo is taking a progressive step of hiring a full-time EMS director. During the work week, that paid paramedic will always respond.
One full-time person is not going to be able to man a station, obviously, 24 hours, but scheduling the volunteers to cover those times when there's not someone here at the station will definitely help.
A full-time EMS director will also recruit volunteers. No easy task.
Time restraints, family.
But it's hoped an EMS director can convince more Wahoo area residents that the job with no pay will provide other rewards, like pride in helping neighbors without keeping them waiting on a rescue squad from another town. In Wahoo, Mike McKnight, WOWT 6 News.
The resident who went to the hospital is doing okay, and Wahoo expects to have a full-time medical services director hired by the first of the year.
A chilly night on the way, and we cool down enough. We're likely to see some fog by tomorrow morning. I'll let you know how much of an impact it'll have coming up after the break. Welcome back, everyone. I'll show you the temperature at 10 o'clock tonight. Not because it's important right now, you're not going to go outside, but as this number drops off into the mid-40s, I think that's where we're going to see the potential for fog to develop. So we're still holding on to 54. Northwest wind at about 6 miles per hour, and some high, thin clouds are rolling in right now from the northwest. If those hold on, it might keep our temperature up just a little bit, and we avoid the fog. But here's the way things are right now. Some high, thin clouds moving through. It's not a huge concern, but you can see out from under the clouds where the numbers have fallen off. 43 already in Columbus, 47 in Fremont, while we still hold on to 54 in Omaha. And I think we're going to see these numbers just kind of teeter and then fall a couple degrees, maybe not every hour, but every other hour, and we'll watch these calm winds aid in that as well. So as the numbers fall, enough moisture in the air that we could see some fog develop. Let's go through it hour by hour. Here's midnight, and the cold front that kind of kept us chilly in the clouds will flip over to a warm front and try to lift through during the overnight hours. Now watch what starts to set in here. You can see this gray just kind of builds on the map. As we head towards 7 o'clock, we drop into the mid-40s right along the Missouri River Valley. Could easily have some in the Platte River, Elkhorn River as well. And that's the fog by 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Then this warm front starts to lift through. Sunshine takes over. Still have some fog around by 9. And then it'll start to burn off from 9 to noon. There's less of it, and we're up near 50 degrees by about the lunch hour. Then we're on the good side of this warm front. So the 50s today turn into 60s and 70s tomorrow. Works out wonderfully. Upper 60s by about 5 o'clock, according to this computer model. I think it's keeping the warm air a little too far west. So take what you see here, the Fremont and Lincoln air, and move it just a little further east. I think it's closer to the river, and you get some low 70s in the metro, probably even some mid 70s, Elkhorn, Gretna, west edge of town. You warm up just a little bit more than the rest of us. 73, though, is what we'll go with in Omaha with mostly sunny skies after we get rid of that morning fog. Remember, that could be very pesky and cause some problems tomorrow morning. Be mindful of the school buses, and there's a lot of farm equipment on the roads this time of year. Be mindful of that. Also, with the deer moving around, could easily pose some problems in the morning. Then some morning fog again on Friday, 79, 68 on Saturday, and 64 on Sunday. A little cooler over the weekend, but there's your Halloween. How about upper 70s on Halloween? Maybe some call that warm. I don't know what your costume is, but we'll see how that goes. Of course, you can download our app, have it with you, keep up to date on the forecast, and well, see how Halloween shapes up. But the record on Friday and Halloween are both in the low 80s, so we're threatening those. We'll see if the forecast changes as we get closer.
I saw a lot of churches were having trunk or treats at their venues tonight, so hopefully all the kids got the candy and a very nice night for it.
Works out perfect.
All right, and this kind of is related the same way. Pumpkin Patch making us smile tonight.
Amanda Simpson sent us this picture. Oh, cute, of her son Barrett. She says the family was visiting Vala's Pumpkin Patch, and Barrett, he couldn't believe he found a white pumpkin. Hopefully, Mom let him bring it home. Look, he's very excited about that.
Yeah, his face tells a story, doesn't it?
Darling.
So what made you smile today? We welcome you to send us your pictures. WOWT.com/thismadeUsSmile.
Good to have you back, John.
Hey, thanks, Mr. Jerstrom.
You've been out in western Nebraska.
Working on a story about Sydney.
Okay,
yeah,
well,
coming up.
We got a story on the Huskers and that practice today, and we'll hear from Jordan Westerkamp when we come back.
Now, sports with Ross Jernstrom, sponsored by Bank of the West.
Good evening, everyone. The 6th-ranked Nebraska football team continued their preparations today for their matchup on Saturday against 11th-ranked Wisconsin in Madison. This will be Nebraska's 3rd road game of the year, but the Huskers will be tested by the crowd noise in Camp Randall Stadium, where 80,000 Badger fans could have an impact with plenty of noise. After practice today, offensive coordinator Danny Langsdorf talked about how the Huskers will handle the intense environment.
We're going to be well prepared for that. We started that from day one, and making sure that we're ready for, we really haven't gotten even our road games. I wouldn't say we've had a ton of. We expect a pretty rowdy crowd for a night game in Wisconsin for sure. I thought we were sharp. I think that yesterday we were focused and ready to go. I think today was some more of the same, which is good to see. I think we're always working for that consistency in practice, and continuing to prepare and peak on Saturday. So I think it's good to see that we've been locked in and ready to go.
The good news this week at practice is the return of Jordan Westerkamp. The Husker wide receiver suffered a back injury in Nebraska's win over Illinois on October 1st. Westerkamp missed the last 2 games against Indiana and Purdue. After practice today, Westerkamp talked about the seriousness of his injury.
The mental part, I was pretty okay with that because I've dealt with pain in the past, and that's just all mental stuff. You just deal with it and keep pushing forward. But I did a great job in the training room with Mark Meyer and Drew. Guys just been working with me, working my tail off to get back out here, and it's been nice to be out here this week and feel 100%. It's been awesome to get back out here, just move around, catch the ball with Tommy, and just get back into the swing of things. Had 2 great practices with no limitations, so it's been good. Confidence is at an all-time high, and just ready to go, get back with the team, and go kick some butt this Saturday.
Let's hope so. The kickoff time for Nebraska's game at Wisconsin will be at 6 o'clock on Saturday night. The game at Camp Randall Stadium will be televised on ESPN, and be sure to check out our award-winning post-game coverage at 10 o'clock. Game 2 of the World Series was tonight in Cleveland. The Indians took the opener, but the Chicago Cubs came back. Let's go to Progressive Field. The Cubs did not waste any time getting on the scoreboard in the first inning. Anthony Rizzo ripped a double to right field. Chris Bryant scored to give the Cubs the first run of the series for them. In the 5th inning, Chicago's Ben Zobrist sent this ball to right field for a triple. Rizzo scored to make it 3-0. Final score was Chicago 5 and Cleveland 1. The series is now tied at 1 game apiece. Game 3 is on Friday night at Wrigley Field. And in men's soccer, 18th ranked Creighton lost in overtime to Xavier by the score of 2-1.
And the time has arrived. We've been doing this all season.
Yes.
You're 7-0 on your Nebraska predictions. How about the Wisconsin game?
I'm going to stick with the Huskers. I'm going to predict they're going to win up there at Camp Randall. And 16-13, Nebraska wins it.
Low scoring game.
Oh, yeah. As Rusty has said, there's going to be some rain, probably. And the Nebraska defense is much better than the ones that have played up there in the past. So I'm sticking with the Huskers.
Let's check out last week's clip and see how you
Oh,
did.
okay.
Yeah, let's look at that. Prediction?
Real quick, 48-21 Nebraska, they'll win big.
Over.
Purdue.
All right, you were right again.
Yeah, a little wider one I predicted, a little closer game.
Yeah, it was closer. Okay, we'll see.
All right.
He's going to actually start predicting which wedding dresses women are going to go with and other things like that. Yes,
think
he's on a roll.
Why not?
He could do it.
We'll put him on the spot. We'll be right back. Leave a little early tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe an extra 5-10 minutes might not hurt. We're going to focus on what we have going on this Saturday. If you want to look at that,
Wow.
I forgot to show this in the main forecast. There's your rain chances for the game, 6
Sorry,
to 10
Ross.
o'clock it looks like. So we'll see if those change a little bit. But yeah, fog tomorrow morning, and it should burn off 10, 11 o'clock.
All right. You have a parka, right, or some kind of a jacket or something?
I've got to wrap up that camera.
Good night.
WOWT 6 News is everywhere. Watch every newscast streamed live on our website and mobile app.